righty, Aphrodite, we are back live, coming to you live from the studios in Round Lake Heights, Illinois. This is your Insurance Corner, and if you'll be 1 second, I got to turn up my headphones again. Hold on a second. Is that better? Oh, that's much better. Oh, welcome back, everybody. My name is Bill Mitch. I'm president of WDMA Financial Group in Grayslake, Illinois, where we protect your life, we protect your health, we preserve your wealth, and we guarantee an income for the rest of your life, and we couldn't say it if it weren't true. And with that in mind, it's always true that the man, the legend, the way of life, coming to you live from the bunkers somewhere deep in the bowels of Ohio, Sean Hauser.
That's an interesting introduction, William.
Talk about impromptu. I had nothing prepared, Sean, and then I just like, okay, let's go there.
No,
let's do
really?
Yeah. I got everything else prepared here except for your intro. So only one time was I did some research. I figured out the state bird, a bunch of other things. It was several months ago, and I did research. But outside of that, I just wing it. It's all right.
Well, the state nut is the buckeye, the state bird is the cardinal, the state flower is the carnation. Can't think of any of this. The slogan is the heart of it all, or it used to be, and now it's like your vote or my vote for sale by any politician. Never.
Yeah. The bowel movement of the NFL or the Cleveland Browns. No, I'm just saying.
The Cleveland Browns aren't so bad as everybody gives them no credit for, but I'd like to see either Cincinnati or Cleveland win a Super Bowl before my life is over. So,
well, we used to say that for 107 years before the Bears finally did something.
Yeah, and you know what?
I mean the Cubs. The Cubs. Yeah.
Well, I tell people about when I moved to Chicago that it was just not too long after the Bears had won the Super Bowl, 12 years. And it was still a big thing. And they're like, really? They celebrated that far? And I'm like, they're still doing it now.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Yeah. I mean, the
and
defense...
now we've got the best quarterback in the world heading there, but they had that before with Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Anything with them either, so...
there are so many... I was reading an article from a friend of mine who has a sports page somewhere on the internet. And... he talked about the fact that there's so many trolls out on the internet, whether it's, Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or God only knows what. All these so-called know-it-alls that, want to poke holes at anybody who's reached the top of the pinnacle. The vast majority of these trolls are unidentifiable, might be bots for all we know. Certainly don't have the cojones to step out, put their face on their page, but they get their 15 seconds of fame by, blasting somebody into the universe. And yet if you put them in a position to get underneath center and go, okay, Mr. Know-It-All, you think you can do this? Here's the play, run it. And see how long they last before they start running for their lives. So, I played sports for a long time, and I know some things about sports. But as I get older, Sean, I have, as much as I want to criticize at some point, there are parts of me that's like, you know what? But you couldn't do it, so shut up.
Well. You know what kills me, and not to turn this into a sports show, but I like you. I played sports. I played soccer, and as a kid, I played golf and baseball, and and gym and all that, and medium successful at whatever. But is that these people get in and they analyze these sports, teams and their records, and they always start off these broadcasts or these posts where, the last time these two teams met was in 2016, which was 8 years ago, right? Hardly any of the players are still the same. So what does that stat tell you? Pretty much nothing, other than the last time these two teams met, somebody lost and somebody won. But to your point, like the whole thing with the quarterback, I was happy to see the Bears pick a decent quarterback. I was a Justin Fields guy because he was an Ohio State graduate, loved the Buckeyes. And, and what gets me is every time one of these big league, big name quarterbacks goes to a team and for some reason they think he can throw the ball from his back pocket, right? Like he's sitting on his butt the entire time because they don't give him wideouts, they don't give him linemen, they don't give him running backs. They're running him in an offense that, why did they get him if they were going to run that offense? And then it comes down to, well, he's a horrible quarterback. He goes somewhere else and he's successful.
Well, the common theme, and we'll just end it with this, the common, talk was Trubisky versus Mahomes. Had Trubisky gone to Kansas City, he had wideouts to throw to. He had he had players in front of him who would block. If Mahomes had come here, he might be dead. Because he didn't have anybody to throw to that was worth their salt. He certainly would have been running for his life half the time. And, Justin Fields, to his athletic credit, actually did put up numbers that are pretty good. I would have rather seen him play an end, a receiver, given how fast he was and how well he ran the ball, or put him out as a scat back or something like that. But, yeah, I mean, if you don't have the players in front of you, you don't have the horses, I don't care how good you are, it's going to be a long day, Yeah,
you don't make a team off of one player,
nope.
right? And that's exactly what we're saying. Trubisky came to the Bears. He might have been the world's best quarterback if he would have had the same receivers, the same coach, the same running backs, exactly what you're saying, right?
Yep.
And they're saying, well, look what all the stuff that Patrick Mahomes did. Yeah, don't take anything away from him. He's a great quarterback. He's a good leader. But, it's like this is an apple and that's a, snow tire.
He had Tyreek Hill and Travis, what's his name to throw to? Travis Kelce to throw to, amongst other players. Yeah. Tyreek Hill's fastest player on the planet. And it still is. And Travis is just big, and he's got big hands, and he can catch the ball and run when he catches it. So, just like Gronkowski, the same thing.
Yeah.
Big dude, big hands, knows how to run, knows how to catch, could block. Travis Kelce can block. But, yeah, it's just some of these guys, if you want to show yourself, then fine, you've got some credibility. If you're going to hide behind Twitter, shut up. Go away.
Well, it's that, or, all they're trying to do is get likes or follows or posts so that they can sell advertising. So they'll still say sensational things. Anyway, we got to talk about insurance.
Yeah, so just a couple of things. On our way, we did our second leg, Sean, of our trip to the Major League Baseball Stadium tour. We did Minnesota this past weekend, my beautiful bride and I. Yeah. The Twin Stadium is gorgeous. I got to tell you, it is an awesome, beautiful, spacious, inviting park. The first thing you do, Sean, when you walk in there is there's got to be 8 to 10 cornhole boxes that people are playing in. Yeah, and they're all there for free. That it's all there's areas to sit, areas to watch the games. The cornhole games before they go. There's a small museum of players, not that dissimilar to what Wrigley Field or some of the other stadiums have around the country. The first person who greets you is Harlem Killebrew. Then you run into some other players whose names have escaped me. I've got pictures of them. There's a small museum.
Kirby Puckett, Gary Carter played there. A lot of people.
Yeah, Kirby Puckett, Tony Oliva, Rod Carew. Somebody named Villegas, whose name has escaped me, first name I should say. a bunch of other players that are notable to the Minnesota Twins. There's a small museum up on the third or fourth floor that you can walk through and get a flavor of when the Minnesota Twins won the World Series twice. The last one I think was in the 90s, and I think that was Kirby Puckett's team, if I'm not mistaken. Then there's I think the coolest thing for me at that stadium was, again, I think it's on the third floor. You either take an escalator up or you can take the elevator. Either way, there's a humongous open bar to the field, so you can watch the game at the bar, or you can order some food and take it to a seat which overlooks the whole field for free. Now, granted, you got in there, so you bought tickets, and so you have a seat somewhere. But if you want to watch the game from the bar instead of your seat, knock yourself out. And it was wonderful. It was a great experience. Very friendly people too. Wow, great, very friendly. And then our excursion was a ghost tour around downtown Minnesota, and a park which was very cool called Minnehaha Park, which I strongly recommend anybody who goes there. It's very peaceful. There's some history there. I think the person's name is John Harrington, was the first settler in Minneapolis. I can only imagine how cold it is in Minnesota in the winter, and you're the first guy there.
And somebody came after you.
Yes, exactly right. So that was fun. I think our next trip officially for the tour is, honestly, it's White Sox Park, so Guarantee Field. So we'll see how that goes. And then I'm trying to figure out if I can do Pittsburgh, Cleveland, or Detroit, Toronto, or if I just have to pick, one team and then, just take our time with it. So we'll see. So stay tuned, everybody, on that regard. I'm going to talk about Medicare tonight, and I know we've been kind of beating this dead horse, folks, but Medicare is a monster of a horse that you have to ride. And there's a ton of moving parts. So we're going to cover some differences between Plan F, as in Frank, which is no longer available in the open market, although there's lots of people that have Plan F, and they won't get rid of it. And I'll explain why in a minute. Plan G, which basically took over Plan F in the year 2020. Then you've got this thing called a high dollar deductible, which is not HSA compatible, folks. It's just a bigger deductible. And then you've got Plan N, is in Nancy. You've got a couple other plans that are out there, but pretty much Plan G, Plan N, and the high dollar deductible are your primary plans. Then we're going to show differences, Sean, about the premium levels between Plan F, Plan G, the high dollar deductible, and Plan N. And then finish it with a discussion between some of the Medicare Advantage plans and the differences, some of the differences between Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplements. These are all supplements that we're going to talk about, folks. And then last thing I'm going to talk about, hopefully there's time, Sean. The last phone call I took today was about a 45-minute phone call. I'm just going to start with this, and we're going to kind of tease it and then bring it back towards the end of the show. I have a client that I've had for, probably known David for 25 years. And as I like to tell the story, it took me 3 to 6 months to get this guy as a client. He's not very big. He's a small group. He hates insurance people, but loves me. Just hates insurance people. But he's at the part of his life where his life may be coming to an end, sadly. About a month ago, he fell, broke his arm and his shoulder, and shattered his pelvis. Now, this is all from a fall. And you would think, well, there must be something else that happened. You don't just shatter your pelvis from a fall. Well, it turned out David has blood cancer. And that explains why he shattered his pelvis. The family contacted me. Remember, he hates insurance people but loved me. And when his daughter and his son started to get involved with his treatment, David was called Bill. Bill will help. I've helped as much as I can, given my, what I can do for him. But the discussion today got into a part where protocols with Medicare might not be met to the T, so hospitals are not willing to take them for a variety of different reasons. And some of my listeners who are in the healthcare field might know better than me, and I would love to know if I'm right on this. The nursing home that he's at right now is treating him for his broken bones. And while he was there this past weekend, they were bathing him of some kind, and they bent him over a little bit. He broke his hip. Yeah. So the call today was, what do we do? We want to get him back to the hospital. He's got bed sore. He's got an infection, predominantly caused by the nursing home. The nursing home can't handle him, and the hospital won't take him. So my suggestion was maybe we need to look at hospice. So we're going to talk about hospice towards the end of the show.
Okay.
And that you might have some experience in that, Sean, with your mom or your dad, and you can share your plight with that. I certainly have experience there with certainly my dad. My mom didn't see a lot of that because she died while she was rehabilitating in a nursing home or a skilled nursing facility. So, but we're going to get started first with the Medicare supplement stuff, in particular. Plan F, Plan G, and Plan G high deductible, and Plan N. So let me start out by saying when I started doing this research about a week ago, I called up a couple of my carriers, and I said, I need literature on Plan F, as in Frank, Plan G high deductible, and Plan N. And I got summaries. I didn't get a plan document. I got summaries. And I'm beginning to wonder, after I gave very specific instructions, I said to one guy, I said, I want the Bible. I want the plan document. I don't want the summary, because the summary doesn't do me any good. I want to know the ins and outs of these different supplements. And keep in mind that all of these supplements are useless unless you have Medicare Part A and B. And to that end, you've got this thing called Medicare and You, which we've been diving into over the past several weeks. And I've said out loud, Sean, that Medicare and You, while it is a useful tool at some level, organizationally speaking, it's a piece of garbage. And it's still missing some things that it doesn't go through. I think, in my professional opinion, it doesn't thoroughly go through what's covered and what's not. So it's left to the Medicare bureaucrats to figure out, and the medical professionals to navigate what's covered and what's not, who's covered and what's not covered, and what is covered, and is this code covered or not covered? Is the person in the hospital too long? And I'll just give you this one for instance, and this is one thing David's going through right now. If you're released from a hospital, you cannot be readmitted for 60 days for the same or similar condition that you were released from. If you are put back in the hospital won't get paid a dime. They won't get paid a penny by Medicare, because Medicare's opinion is you didn't manage the person's care well enough. He should have never been released from the hospital. You released him too soon. Too bad for you. You take him. You eat the cost.
Did they make any definitions around what is considered the same illness? Like if I had gone in for treatment of bone cancer, right? And they released me from the hospital, and then 10 days later I have to go back in. and it's because of the treatment of the bone cancer. I could see that, but like, what if there was another circumstance? Does it define that, or
Not
how different
terribly,
or how unique does it have to be?
yeah, not terribly well. It's kind of up
Got
to
it.
subjective opinion. It certainly is going to land on what codes are being used, what
Sure.
diagnostic codes, what procedure codes are being used.
Okay.
And at the same time, it's very likely that the hospital knows that there's a possibility that they won't get paid. So and I'm not trying to impugn them, don't misunderstand. But this is a business as much as it is a care thing. And if they know that they're not going to get paid, they're going to look for reasons why not to readmit that person. And I don't think it's done with impunity. I think these people honestly care and they want to bring them back. But because Medicare put rules together that stops those readmissions,
Right.
that the professional caretakers are put between a rock and a hard place, and they're the ones having to deal with the patient or the patient's family. And that's what I'm facing with right now with my friend David. So it's tough. But that being said, the documents are not terribly clear as to what you can do. And again, I know I've got one listener out there who does have some professional space in this area. And if she wants to comment, I would love to hear what she has to say. So I'm going to kind of keep my text open for that, and you know who you are.
I didn't expect it to be, very specific, but, for instance, my mother, when she was in nursing care for memory issues, she had to go to the hospital for various infections now, and she was on Medicare. And then she went back to the nursing home, and then like 3 weeks later, it was something else. Took her back to the hospital for another stay, and I don't know how that turned out, but they were distinct medical concerns, okay? But that's me saying, well, this is different than that, but, does Medicare actually help you make that decision that, no, this is actually part of that?
Yeah, so what I didn't get a chance to do, Sean, is find out when that law changed, because this is
gotcha.
When your mom was going through all of that, there was probably an allowable, revolving door of in and out, in and out, in and out. Everything is hunky dory. This law is kind of recent. Let's say in the last 10 years, maybe 12 years, that this readmission thing has been put in place, and I think it's getting harder and harder, not easier. It's worth me looking into it because it's going to happen to another client where they're being refused treatment on a technicality, and I would just I'm going to do some digging around and see what I can find. So it's a good point.
Understood.
So let's
Didn't mean to sidebar you.
No, it is related. That's for sure. Just checking to see. Oh, I might have got a text here. Let me see. Oh no, not not the one I was looking for.
Okay.
So all right. So let's talk about Plan F. Plan F, as in Frank, was the best plan, still is the best plan, but is no longer available as of January 1st, 2020. Plan F basically covered all of your Medicare expenses after Medicare did what they were going to do. Hospitalization, skilled nursing facility, that was the Part A stuff, the Part B provisions, anything that was outpatient, doctor visits, lab x-ray, etc. You had zero out of pocket. You paid a premium and you had zero out of pocket. Well, those plans got sunsetted either by the insurance company, hand in glove with the government, or the government said, you got to get rid of this. We got to have, these people have to have some skin in the game. I can tell you firsthand, Sean, very few people that have Plan F would rather pay the premium, especially as they get older, and not have to deal with any out-of-pocket cost, rather than defaulting to Plan G, which is identical to Plan F, except you have a $240 deductible to navigate. They don't even want to deal with that, even if the savings are significant. And I'm going to share with you a little later what some premium differentials are, where it makes it kind of a no-brainer, but people don't want to deal with it. And honestly, if they can afford the premium for Plan F, I can't say that I blame them. So Plan F and Plan G are identical in all the moving parts, except for the deductible. The deductible is where Plan G comes in. Plan G with the high dollar deductible, at least for calendar year 2024, you take on a $2,800 deductible, but for that privilege, if you will, you're getting a significant premium discount. Now, here's the rub with this one. This is kind of like buying the Medicare Advantage plans. No offense to the MAs. They're worth something to some people. We'll see how many people jump ship next year when the changes come, and they're coming fast like a freight train. You have a big deductible, and all of a sudden something happens, and you incur $2,800 medical bill. I can virtually promise you that after that expense, unless the person's sitting on millions of dollars and $2,800 doesn't bother them, that they are on the phone to somebody like me saying, Bill, get me out of this. I need to get into that Plan G with the $240 deductible. I'll pay the higher premium. Now, Sean, what do you think the insurance company's response is going to be if you just came out of cardiac care and your premiums, let's say, were $40 a month instead of $170 a month? How willing do you think they're going to take you as a client, even if you're staying with the same company, jumping from Plan G high deductible to the more robust Plan G? Do you think you're going to have problems trying to get to the better plan?
Do they have an underwriting component?
Oh, yeah.
In there?
Oh, except for Blue Cross of Illinois, yes.
I'm thinking that with that, they might have, they would re-underwrite possibly.
Yep. Yeah, so you're going to get a re-underwritten. There's only one plan in the country for Medicare Supplements, as far as I know, that does not underwrite. One company, is Blue Cross of Illinois, has a guarantee issue product no matter your age. You pay a little bit extra for that premium. Same plan, same provision, same everything, but you don't have to go through underwriting. Every other Medicare supplement carrier on the planet is going to make you go through medical underwriting if you change. With Medicare Advantage, you have an open enrollment period between October 15th and December 7th where you can switch around. But as we know, the networks are smaller. While there may be no premium, you're out of pockets and copays may be higher. And with the changes coming down the pike, folks, and we're going to know more about what the changes are going to look like probably come September, you're going to see a lot of people going, uh-oh, that's not what I signed up for. What does this Medicare supplement thing look like, and can I get approved? As an example, Sean, I had a client who has type 2 diabetes and neuropathy. That's it. She was otherwise fine. You would not know any other problems that she had. She got declined. She got declined.
So in this case, it may be better for insurability purposes to stay with the plan you have, or you have to take that risk, which you don't quite know how it's going to come down, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. People buy the bigger deductible if they've got enough resources where they can manage that deductible. It's not a big deal, kind of like an HSA account.
That makes sense.
You know, and there is a significant premium savings, which we'll talk about, but we'll talk about that, Sean, at the top of the hour, or, you know, when we come back from the bottom of the hour, because it is 6:31 here at 101.5 FM, WLCB, Slade's Corner, Wisconsin. I should say, by the way, Sean, on the way to Minnesota on Friday, we went past, I know we went past Slade's Corner.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, you can tell me, is the tower right off of Route 50?
You can see it right from the road.
Yeah, we we saw the tower.
You visited the mothership.
It's all of about 100 feet high. So, with that in mind, that's Sean. My name is Bill Miksch. I'm president of WDMI Financial Group. This is Your Insurance Corner, and we'll be right back after these short messages.